Hello, viewers, and welcome to Novus Talks with me, your host, Novus Corvius. And yes, back in the old room again, even though I said in the previous video that I was going to be recording in my bedroom. For now, I have access to this room again, so here we are, I guess. You'll notice, though, different angle. I'm not recording from the window as usual because, as I explained before, there's an issue with the light I usually use. I'll explain it in a YouTube short later on. This video isn't about that at the moment. You'll just have to put up with the weird changing surroundings again. So I apologize for that. But yeah, as you can tell from this title, this is about 2022, my goals. I alluded to this in my previous video that I would be talking about the goals I had for 2022. I did a video which I thought I did at the end of the year. I apparently did it back in November of 2021, and I meant to review it in November 2022. Oops, I forgot. I thought it was later. But in that video, I set myself 4 goals for 2022. 4 goals that I thought would be simple enough to fulfill. And I was meant to review them a year later because it kind of tied into me being inspired by Unus Annus, which is kind of funny and appropriate because I'm wearing an Unus Annus hoodie right now. That's pure coincidence. I was planning to record this video now, or whatever. It was just coincidence I was wearing this, but it's fitting, it's suitable, since it all relates back to Unus Annus anyway. But anyways, it was about goals I'd set myself, and I was supposed to review them, and here we are. I've been eagerly waiting to do this video. There were 4 goals I did. I'll go through them one by one here, and we'll see how we got on. So the first one was to get a job. Simple. I finished school right as the pandemic began, and since then I've been doing bits and pieces around the place, mostly seasonal work. Acting is like the main passion of mine, and filmmaking as well. But as someone who didn't want to go to college after being burnt out after school, I've kind of just been floating around, taking whatever comes my way. Obviously been applying to stuff around. I'm sure half those places aren't even looking at my applications, to be honest with you, because it's all acting. So obviously it's no good applying to a job in a cafe if your CV is all acting. So I'm sure that's what's tripping me up there. But anyways, the boring details aside, that was the goal for the year. Shockingly, I did not succeed at that. I'm afraid I am in the same position. However, to give myself credit, I have done stuff in 2022. I have been on TV as part of work over Christmas. I did some work as an extra in some TV shows toward August and September. That was all paid. I just mentioned there, I was working over the Christmas for like a theatrical thing. So that was paid work as well. And I believe I was working back in March as well, for a bit briefly. So while I didn't get the sort of permanent tie down that I was implying when I made that goal, I have done stuff. So yeah, bummer, but at the same time, I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it because I have done stuff, and that's what counts. So while I technically didn't fulfill the goal in its original intention, I've gone out there, I've put myself out there, I've done stuff. So there is a silver lining to that. So I can take some pride in that. And I even said that in the video as well, that not to be too hard on myself, even if I don't succeed in these goals, that I'm surely tried hard enough, and I did. But obviously going into 2023 now, we'll see where we go. Things are looking optimistic for me so far. I might talk about that in another video if you care, just because I don't want to bore you with the details here right now in this video, when I have other stuff to talk about as well. But right now, things are looking optimistic. There could be something coming up on the horizon. That's what I'll say there. So technically a no on that one. Technically I didn't fulfill that goal. The second goal was to enhance my content. This was vague. It could refer to TikTok or to YouTube. With YouTube, I didn't really do much on YouTube this year. It was a weird year. On the other hand, I did a lot on TikTok. I just got my year in review for TikTok, and I made way more videos in 2022 than I thought. I apparently made 54. That's like most of my like TikTok profile, right? Most of my posts from this year. So that's quite a shock. So technically I succeeded in that. When I made that goal, I was thinking more on the lines of YouTube and doing stuff for YouTube, but TikTok was a big possibility as well. And I guess I just had a lot of different ideas for TikTok. I did a lot of meme stuff around, Metal Gear Rising. A few of them I uploaded to YouTube even. Did stuff about like pirates and stuff later on in the year. So I've done a fair bit. And there's a bit of variety there as well. So I'm quite happy with that. I've technically succeeded in that. Not on the preferred platform, but I did it, so I can count that as a win. The other goal was upload 100 videos to YouTube. This was technically the second goal, but I got them mixed up. But anyways, this one, nope, did not succeed. I even said I was going to do a lot more videos in 2023 and I was going to make them more varied. The exact opposite happened. They were all kind of reaction videos, as I keep mentioning. And I think in total, I did something like 54, 55 videos or something. So almost halfway there. Again, 2022, the second half of the year, really strange for me. I think I was on track at the beginning of the year, wasn't doing too bad with the Nintendo Direct stuff. As usual, March and April, I usually tend to fall off when it comes to videos. But around the second half of the year is when things went completely off the rails. It was right after we had the September Nintendo Direct. I ended up getting COVID that week, so that completely prevented me from making videos for a while. Then after that, I was working for Halloween and for Christmas, and on top of that, I was partially ill again. My mom was ill as well, so there's a lot of things going on that prevented me from putting the stuff out there that I planned to. And plus the little hiccup I had with the light here a while back, which I must show you in the next video. So there was just an influx of things that were sort of preventing me from doing as much as I would have liked. And there was also a lack of motivation. There was a huge lack of motivation there, perhaps laziness, admittedly so. So all these things just sort of coalesced together and really prevented me from hitting that goal. So it's unfortunate. I didn't do a lot of variety and I didn't reach 100 videos. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it again, because I knew 100 videos was a big ask. Even though, yeah, there's 365 days a year, but you have to think about everything that comes up in between in your life that can take your attention and takes priority and takes focus, right? So a lot of things that are vying for your time, you don't have the time, the focus to dedicate to videos, and that's kind of what happened there. Like there was loads of videos I wanted to do that I just didn't get around to. Bayonetta 3 review even, which I guess I could still do, and maybe I will. But the 100 video thing, it just came from Unus Annus. I made that my goal in 2021 and I just barely fulfilled it. If you remember, I did a load of YouTube shorts. And I thought for some reason that I would do it again in 2022. I didn't even really do that many YouTube shorts either, because the motivation wasn't there and I didn't know what to do them on. So no, and again, no, I'm not going to set that goal for 2023. I'm not, because that will be the third year in a row I've done this, and it just means I probably won't hit that goal. If I do make 100 videos, great, but I'm going to put the cap on that right now. The whole 100 videos thing, that goal, it's arbitrary, it doesn't matter, just forget about it. 55 videos or whatever, not bad considering everything that was going on that I just explained to you. Could be worse, but also could be better. I could have done more content. I could have done different stuff, tried new stuff. I said I was going to do stuff with my drone. I didn't do that either. So we'll see how we get on in this year anyway. And the last goal, which is interesting, was to write a story for Wattpad. Because as I mentioned before, and just to briefly recap, I used to write stories when I was younger. I've kind of briefly got the interest recently to go back into it. And been, wanting to revise some of those old stories and turn them into something that's actually quality. Because obviously as a kid, you write stuff, and I'm someone who always has great ideas. Not to toot my own horn, but I have excellent ideas. The problem is there's no substance when I actually write them. If I write an actual story, it's like the ideas are great, but the actual meat of it isn't there. The descriptions, the character development, the just world building and playing with language and vocabulary, that's all not there. That's something that's really been my biggest challenge and obstacle with all of that. But it's something I wanted to get back into. And back in March, I started work on a fantasy story. It was one of my old stories that I wrote as a kid, and I've completely rearranged it and turned it into something new. I haven't published it yet. I've been working on it for the year. The reason that's not out yet, it's a short enough story. It's going to be like at most 16 chapters. The problem is, again, I'm not writing it every day. There's days where I don't really feel like writing it. Laziness creeps in. And so I could have probably finished that story by October, but I didn't. It's January and I still have like 5 or 6 chapters left to write. So admittedly, laziness crept up on me there, and it's hard to find a schedule and get stuck into it and push myself there. But that's not to say I didn't write anything. I did write some short stories this year. 2, in fact. Him 001, which is like a science fiction story about a human being reborn as a cyborg, his memories being intertwined with the machinery and his consciousness and coming to understand himself. I published that like over the summer, I think. And then most recently in October, I published another short story, Will the Dead Come Out to Play? This was a horror story inspired by a dream I had, which is about some kids telling a campfire story, and one of these stories turns out to be true. And I don't want to spoil it in case you want to read it, but it goes really into sort of body horror, kind of cosmic horror as well, liminal spaces. There's a bit of that thrown in. I'll leave my Wattpad link in the description if you are interested. I'd really appreciate if anyone is interested to check them out. But if you're not, that's understandable. So technically I did publish a story. I technically published 2, so I can count that. In my New Year's video, I mentioned that there was a project this year I wanted to talk to you about later on. It is that, the main fantasy story I'm writing. I'm not finished it yet, so I'm not going to talk a lot about it yet. But when it is finished, I'm going to promote it, right? I'm going to make videos about it. I'm going to encourage you all to check it out. I'm going to remind you that it exists and probably make a load of videos on it. Because, yeah, it's just on Wattpad and it's only going to be seen by a handful of people. But I really want people to check it out because that's kind of like a little passion project of mine. So when the time comes for that, I will be discussing that with you all. Similar to what I did before when I wrote the Metroid stories. When I first started off with that, I made videos on that, and the same thing when I do this. So yeah, I didn't get a job this year, but I did enhance my content, and I did write a story. So 2 of 4. I did say if I get half of them done, it wouldn't be too bad, and I did get half of them done. So while there is a downside of those 2 that I didn't get done, the other 2 I did, and I did fairly well at. So, hey, it could have been worse. It could have been like 1 out of 4 or 0 out of 4. But the fact I got 2 of them done, not bad. I'm happy enough with that. Right now, as for any goals for 2023, this video is going on long enough, so I'm not going to talk about it here. And also because I don't actually know, I haven't really thought about it yet. So if I think of anything, I'll save that for another video. But for now, this was me wanting to look back and that video from November 2021 and seeing where we were a year later. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And yeah, with that all said, thank you all for watching and please subscribe. Novus Corvius out.